Yeah, I think they are in the bad connection, so they are like in and out.
Yeah, Carly, one of our other mentors, is doing the beginners chat in
Yes.
like 5 minutes, and she said she's having like bad connectivity problems, so we can hope
Oh.
for the best there. Yeah, so we seem to be sort of okay. But if you guys want me to speak louder or slower or all of those things, just let me know. And yeah, so we want to go around and introduce ourselves yet? Just to get everybody acquainted.
Okay, understood.
Okay, I'll start. My name is Maddie.
My name is Rachel.
We go to Hobart and William Smith Colleges in Geneva, New York, in the U.S. Who wants to go next? Okay. Can everyone hear me okay?
Yes.
You
Yes.
got it? Okay. Perfect. And I know Enda.
Yes.
Hello.
Hello.
Who's with you, Enda?
Aku nggak ada suaranya. Yang ada itu baca dulu. Aku nggak ada suara. Can you repeat, please, Nedi?
Sorry?
Can you repeat, please? What are you saying?
Can I repeat? Okay. I just asked who you were with today.
Okay.
Yeah, who's next to you? Yeah.
Introduce ourselves.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Okay. My name is Putri Novadila Salma, and you can call me Putri. Hello, my name is Endah Juwita. You can call me Endah.
Thank you. Okay. How about we get started? Because it looks like everyone's on. So, yeah, did you guys end up reading the article that I sent over the group chat? Did anyone get that?
Yeah.
Awesome. Fantastic. Yeah, did you guys, how was it? Was it hard? Was it too easy? Or was it both? Or none?
It's hard to understand.
Yeah, I figured. So a few chapters from that article that we can go over, and we could definitely talk about the article and the study and what it means. But first, this lesson is going to be on the American school system. So I figured we can start with just a quick run through of how it's set up and structured. And it's there's a basic structure in the U.S., but some of it different in different places. And I'll give you some examples of that. But this is the basics right here.
Right. Buat tuh, bantuan Kindergarten.
Okay. So these are the grades, what we call grades. Kindergarten is what you start out with, and then first through fifth grade, and this constitutes elementary school. And it's for elementary school is for children kindergarten is when you're 5 years old, and like 5 and keeps going until you're 9 years old. So you end elementary school in fifth grade, and I was 10, but you can be 11 as well. That's what usually happens. And then you have 6th to 8th grade, which is middle school. And 6th grade, you start out with being 11 or 12, just like coming out of 5th grade. And then 8th grade is when you turn 13 or 14. Since my birthday is in July, I'm sort of young for my grade, I guess. So And Rachel's birthday is in January.
So I'm always a bit older.
Yeah, and I'm usually a bit younger than my class. So, yeah. Oh, we have new people. Hello, how are you? Yes. Okay, I'm just gonna keep going. You can if you want to. Yeah. Okay, and then we have 9th through 12th grade, which is high school. And that's when you're 14 or 15 starting in 9th grade, and then you're about 17 to 18 years old when you exit high school. And then after high school, you can go to college. You cannot go to college. Most kids nowadays go to college, graduate from high school, which is where I am right now.
I want to say something real quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
Also in America, there are 2 different types of high schools. So you have public high school where you don't pay to go, and then you have private high school, which I went to private high school, so I paid to go there, kind of like a little college, and then I lived at that high school too. So it was kind of like a small college, and now I'm in an actual college. Yeah. So that's the difference in America.
I went to public high school. I still had to pay though, just because it was out of my district. It's hard to explain, but I got to go to that specific high school, even though it was farther away from my home, and I wouldn't have had to pay if it was closer to my home, but it was farther away, so they made me pay just a little bit. Yeah, a little bit. And what we got here is college, and which is where we are right now. And you start off being a first year or a freshman. Then you go to sophomore, junior, and then senior year. Those terms also apply to high school as well, but there are no, after 12th grade, they don't number the grades, so you're just called those terms, but you can also be those terms in the 4 years of high school too. I am a sophomore, and
I am a junior.
Rachel is sort of, yeah, she's a junior. Let's see. Okay, so here we have some core subjects, which is what are taught in elementary and middle school, and it gets sort of like that in high school as well, but it gets a little bit more complex. But this is like the core. Yeah,
that's like an elective.
That's not the only one. So the core subjects are the things that you must have every single year in elementary school and elementary through high school for the most part. You have to take English, formal English. You have to take science. You guys are more familiar with the term history. That's just, basically the same social studies. And there are periods in high school and middle school and sometimes elementary school. It's just how a class is structured. So usually, at least in a public high school, at least in the high school, middle school that I went to, we had about 42-minute classes, and we had 9 periods in the day. Yeah, it's really, Rachel just said it's really specific because we wanted to have 9 periods every day. I don't really know why, but that's just how it worked out. It was approximately 42 minutes for every period. It was even like that. Rachel had a different.
So because I went to private school and it was supposed to prepare you for college in a sense, like high school prepares you for college, but
different sort of preparation.
Yeah, the schedule in my high school was the same as my schedule here. So some classes were 55 minutes, some classes were an hour and a half, so that's about 90 minutes, and they changed each day. So one day my math class might be 55 minutes, but then another day my math class would be an hour and a half, so 90 minutes.
Yeah, and it just changes depending on what sort of high school you go to, and you can also have block periods as well. Rachel had block periods at her school, which is just 2 periods combined to form one massive.
We had the schedule was A through F blocks. That's how we knew which class we were going to. But sometimes there would be an H block that was added on, and it was just an extra 30 minutes to a class.
Yeah. So it can be a little confusing, but it's just how it is. And I'll explain later, but not yet. So usually periods, at least in my high school, or in middle school and stuff like that, they had bells in between to signify when it would begin and when it would end. So yeah, that's just, I don't know if it's like that anywhere else, but it definitely is like that in most of US schools. And now we can move on to the Common Core, which my mom is in education, so I've heard a lot about this. The Common Core is a new way that the United States is teaching children, and it's right there. And basically what the Common Core does is nationalizes education, and the Common Core is going to have standards that you have to reach for every school across the country. And this is a different approach since the past times. Some people are against it, some people are more for it, but it just depends on usually where you are, or something like that. But yeah, usually states want more control over the education as opposed to an entire country. So some people have more problems with government dictating what they're supposed to do in schools. They think that the state should be in charge of that for those specific states. But some people think that having a national foundation for education is a good thing. It just depends on your opinion. But Common Core is here regardless. And it's not instituted in colleges or anything, because those are private institutions, but it's instituted in elementary, middle, and high school, if you're a public high school, not private. And we just would talk about individual and group projects. Those would come up pretty often if we're at school. Usually we could work as a group sometimes. We would have to do something ourselves as a project. So yeah, those are just pretty simple concepts. Pop quizzes, tests, and exams. So a pop quiz is an unannounced quiz. They do not tell you when you'll be taking this quiz for a grade. Teachers will just spring it on you out of the blue as it is. And regular quizzes, they do tell you in advance. And a quiz is just a small test, usually just to test whether you understand what's happening right now. And they do count towards your grade. All those count towards your grade. But quizzes,
a lot smaller than tests.
Yeah, quizzes are just smaller than tests. And then we get to tests, and tests are usually they are big. Some people call them exams. At least at our school, we just called them tests. Exams were usually taken at the end of the year.
Right.
So they were the really big culmination of pretty much everything that you've learned. They say final exams, everything that you've learned throughout that year. But tests really go by a structure. You don't have them as often as quizzes, but you have them more than exams.
Something to remember, or to think of it this way to make it easier to understand. If you're reading a book, a quiz will be something that you do for one chapter. A test would be something that you do for 2 or 3 chapters, and an exam would be on the entire book.
Right, yeah, that's great analogy, Rachel. Sounds okay. Papers/essays are things that you write about a certain subject. Usually, they're not usually in middle and high school. They're not usually you're not usually asked to do them very often, but at least for me, Rachel's given me a look.
My high school had several papers and essays, and sometimes we had to write really long essays for an exam.
Yeah,
in high school.
Public high schools need to do better with reading and writing skills, or so I've heard. So, no, it's true.
Oh,
definitely. Yeah, they're sort of abysmal sometimes. But yeah, so at least I didn't get as many papers as Rachel did in high school, but they are assignments. How I think of them, essays are usually smaller. At least that's what, yeah, like Rachel, I guess Rachel had an opposite experience, but papers for me were very long. Essays were usually just involved in a test.
For me, papers would be something you'd write on your opinion, but an essay would be like a research project. Like essay involves like several different works in the paper.
Oh,
that's what I think of it as.
Yeah, there's different definitions. Basically, they're pretty similar.
Yeah, some people use them to mean the same thing. So it really depends on the teacher or where you are.
Exactly. Lots of things are different. Classroom rules, those are just, what say, I'm sure similar to what you have in school in Indonesia. We just have rules in class like you can't chew gum. That's a rule. You can't talk when the teacher is talking. You can't talk when somebody else is talking. Basically, like you pretty much can't talk throughout the whole period unless you raise your hand. You can't wear hats in school. In college, that rule changes.
Some teachers still don't let you wear hats in college. I have a couple teachers that don't let you wear hats in class.
Yeah, they take it as a sign of disrespect because I guess
cheating.
Yeah, maybe cheating as well. If you're not showing your full face or whatever, I don't know, they get weirded out by that, I guess. Yeah. Okay, so let's move on to STEM, which stands for Science, Technology, Engineering, and Mathematics. STEM is, again, something recent like Common Core that the government has really wanted to pursue because, as you may have seen in the article that you read, the United States is not doing very well as far as test scores go, as far as learning, which is, people might think it's bizarre, but it's been sort of the same thing for a long time. So the U.S. is really trying to improve its STEM, which is, again, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. And because those topics right now are very important for future and very important for up and coming starting fields. Like engineering is really important right now. Engineering jobs are really, really good jobs to get, and and U.S. government really wants to push that on the kids so they can get good jobs. Like, I'm an English major, so yeah, basically that means I'm gonna have a little bit more trouble getting jobs.
I'm an anthropologist.
And Rachel says that
I'm an Asian studies and anthropology major, so it's going to be a challenge for me as well. They definitely stress the sciences, the mathematics as the really big, high-paying jobs. So the arts and the languages are a bit less common,
and they also get less funding. Yeah. So in my high school, at least, they taught Spanish and French. I went to a small public high school, and they taught Spanish and French, and they almost got rid of the French program, which I was in. Yeah. So it was, we're all a little nervous about that because I had spent a few years of my life taking French, and I was not about to lose it because there wasn't enough money that they could give the French program.
We used to have a lot of Asian languages, so Mandarin and Japanese, and they took out the Japanese program. So that was pretty upsetting. In my high school, they took out the Japanese program, and I was pretty upset. I also took Italian, and they didn't have Italian there. Like, I went to Italy in high school, and I lived there for a year as a study abroad program. And I came back to my high school and realized that they didn't teach us Italian there. So that was a little upsetting too.
Yeah, so a lot of stuff, like arts, a lot of the arts like theater, music, and actual studio art and certain languages, those programs are like, their funding is pretty low. They are neglected. Thank you, Rachel. In preference for science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, which, you know, here, all of us here at a liberal arts high school are not too happy about right now. But you know, so basically, we're gonna have to go out and really fight for our jobs here. We're gonna fight tooth and nail. So yeah, we have also here now we can talk about the article. And after I go through some of the vocab of the article, we can stop for questions. If you guys have any questions, I know the article is probably a little bit difficult to understand, but hopefully we can clear up that stuff in a few minutes. Okay, so let's start with the article. And these were things that I had to look up myself half the time. The OECD is the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development. Now, what the OECD does is it's made up of 35 countries, and it promotes a market economy and democracy. So basically, it's just a lot of countries talking about international economics, or economics is like just studying money. It's awful. I'm sorry. Like, I've taken economics. It's the worst.
It's very challenging.
Yes, Rachel.
It's very challenging.
It's quite challenging. At least it was for me. There are
everyone, even the economic majors, the people who want a job in it are tired, and they say it's very hard. It is very hard. And
because it's hard to explain, but I personally really did not like it, and I wasn't very good at it. So, but yeah, props to the people who do it. I respect them. Somebody has to. It's called the dismal science for a reason. Let's just say that. Anyway, so half of this article was on economics, and basically the OECD just promotes that sort of thing. And what they do, one of the things that they do, is they give people a PISA, which is the Program for International Student Assessment. And PISA is a test for 15-year-olds in things like reading, math, and science. And it's a worldwide study in many different countries. So actually, Indonesia was on this. I checked the statistics as well. Yeah, and basically that article was just saying that the U.S. is very behind, very behind, which is weird considering how the United States is arguably one of the powerhouses of the world at the moment. Where, yeah, some people say most economically developed. That's very debatable. Yeah, just because, you know, it's like, but basically the U.S. is just a really big country that imports and exports a lot. That's economics. Then we just get a lot of products and we ship it everywhere. And
there's nothing really here besides what, tobacco.
Rachel said, what? Say it again.
Well, there's not much that America actually makes. Like, we get everything from everywhere else. Our main export is probably tobacco.
Yeah. Yeah, that's historical too. Yeah, right. Yeah. So yeah, the PISA is just that test that they were looking at in that article, which tested 15-year-olds. They test them every 3 years in math, reading, and science and stuff like that. Skipping ahead, the U.S. scored 481 in 2012, and 474 in 2015, which is really low compared to other countries. Yeah, so the article was looking at the 481 score in 2012, but I did a little bit more research and found that we've gotten worse since then.
It fell.
It fell. Yeah,
Oh.
it's great. So we're yeah, so we're behind places like France, the United Kingdom, and Japan.
Okay, I'm not surprised there.
Which is, again, it's not surprising. However, we're also behind Hungary, the Czech Republic, and Russia.
Wow.
I've been to Russia, actually, and that's interesting. So yeah, the U.S. No, nothing against Russia. I love the country. It's great. Well, depends on what they're doing right now. It's pretty. Let's just say that. No, yes. So let's not talk about Putin. Okay. So what we have, another word, proficiency, and the PISA test was basically just measuring people's proficiency levels in different subjects, and proficiency just means an expertise in a certain subject. So
So how well you can do something is
yeah,
proficiency. How well you can read or write or do math. That's what they call your proficiency.
so for example, I have a low mathematics proficiency. I'm not very good at math. However, I would say as an English major that I have a high proficiency in English. So yeah.
I have a low proficiency in math, but I have a high proficiency in languages. So I learn new languages fairly quickly.
How long, how many languages do you know, Rachel?
I've taken Latin, Spanish, Italian. I've started teaching myself Korean, and I plan to take Japanese in the spring.
That's pretty cool. So yeah, she definitely has a pretty high language proficiency. So thanks for the thumbs up, man. Yeah, we have also another word that we have is expenditure. And sorry, it's up here. Expenditure. And really what expenditure is just how you spend money. It's just spending money. So for example, the OECD concluded in one of the statements that I really liked, the OECD said basically just because you spend more on teaching people mathematics does not mean that they're going to be better at it, which I really liked, because so just because you have a higher expenditure in mathematics does not mean that your proficiency level is going to increase at all. So, which is true for the U.S. because, as you can see from the title of that article right there, they are expensive, unequal, and bad at math. So yeah, there you have it. So let's see. Another word, socioeconomic. And that just means it's just a combination of two terms, society and economics, which is just, and when they say socioeconomic class, that just means like your ranking in society, like your level in society, based on how much you make or your income. Yeah, I think that's pretty much correct. And annual just means every year. Yeah. So your socioeconomic class, they were saying in the article, there were people. Yeah, Rachel. Let's
So socioeconomic class, you have working class, which is typically the group of people that make the least amount of money. And then you have middle class, which are the people that are comfortable, but they're not wealthy per se. And then you have upper class, which is really wealthy, travel the world because they have so much money, like, you know. And those are basically, so it's basically three things. It's either working class, middle class, or upper class.
Yes, exactly. And what they were saying in the article about resilient students, or students who have a low socioeconomic class but have a desire to succeed, the U.S. does not have a lot of those students. Go figure. So
it's like the basis of the American dream.
Yeah, exactly.
So the American dream of basically coming to America or being in America working really hard and ending up with a really good job and making a lot of money, that's called the American dream, because it's mostly people in the working class who try to do that. So my mother, she came from Jamaica and she came to America, and her dream was to work so hard that she got out of working class and became upper class. It's a very difficult thing to do, but it's often thought of as why America is so great.
Right, exactly. And when we, little history, whatever, when we had tons and thousands and thousands of immigrants in the 19th and 20th centuries coming into the US, and I was a huge proponent of why so many people came into the country, because they sort of came from a working class in their country, and they really wanted to get out of that. So, which is one of the main reasons why people came over to our country to try and do that. But they probably didn't realize it was a lot harder than they thought, because the American dream is not really that true. If it's true at all. But
I know, that's what's called a dream.
That's why it's a dream. And as you read in the article, those resilient students are becoming fewer and fewer as we go on. So a lot of working class kids who are growing up in working class, usually in an urban setting, they usually have less and less desire to move up in the world, so to speak. Which is a problem, and basically just what that part of the article was talking about. And just one last thing, it doesn't mention GDP, which is gross domestic product, in the article, but I figured it was a good thing to mention as we're on sort of the subject of economics, because the US scored very low compared to other countries, even though it has one of the highest GDPs of any of those countries. And the GDP is just the total amount of everything produced in one country. And the US has one of the highest ones out of all of the countries tested, but very bad scores in comparison, which is weird. And a high GDP score means that a country is doing very well economically, and a low one just means that the country is not doing very well economically and has money problems. So yeah, it's just the article was just centered around all of that stuff. So I hope I cleared up some questions, but I feel like now is a good time to see if you guys have any questions. So you can unmute yourselves and ask us any questions that you want.
Thank you, Mehdi. And who you are? Sorry, I forget.
It's Rachel.
Oh yeah, Rachel. Thank you for your explanation today. We got a lot of information about study in US, and maybe now, is there anyone who wanna ask question? Or maybe for me first? Or Pak Fauzi, do you wanna ask question? Di unmute dulu, Pak.
I have question.
Okay, Putri.
Okay, I wanna ask you, what is the favorite subject in the US? You told us math is long. Mathematics is long in US, but I want to know what is the favorite subject in the US?
How is the what subject in the US?
What is the favorite subject or favorite program, the best program in US?
Oh, the most appropriate? Is that what
The most favorite.
did you say like the best program in the US, like the one that they're best at?
Yeah,
Like major, maybe?
Gotcha.
yes, major.
I do think it's very funny that the US is not very good at math, yet majority of the people in college are taking math classes or majoring in mathematics.
Okay.
I'm not sure what our best subject is.
Well, we know what it's not. But like, that's a good question because we're sort of subpar in pretty much every subject today. Maybe like maybe science. Maybe I think at least what I've heard, science is getting better and better in the U.S. So reading and math are not that good, but I think they're really pushing for science. Perhaps that's better. I'm sorry, we really don't know.
Okay.
It's a hard question. Yeah, we just really don't know. Like, what was our best score in that category? I don't know. I'm actually looking at the OECD right now.
Look at science.
Science performance.
No.
Okay, science. Okay, science. We got better. We reached 500 in science in comparison to 481 and 474 in math, and in reading we got 487. So yeah, we're right. Okay, science is according to the OECD website with those charts and stuff. Which actually, I think I might just send to you guys. In the international group chat that we have on WhatsApp right now. I might just send that website along to you guys in case you want to take a look at it yourself. Oh, Jude. Oh, jeez. Where did everyone go?
I think
disconnection. It's the connection. Okay.
Okay.
Welcome back.
Yeah.
So we're right. Science is slightly better than the other subjects, but not by a lot. So,
there's so many different like English with
yeah.
Where do you put sociology or political or like anthropology or
those are
art? Like
that test was just for 15-year-olds in high school, but when you get to college, a lot of the subjects sort of tend to blur together.
Right.
That's what liberal arts is all about. And we're at a liberal arts college, and basically liberal arts just means that it's a lot of things that may seem different at first, a lot of subjects that are different, but they all sort of link themselves together in ways that you really don't expect.
Yeah, like I am a double major, so I have two majors. I have one in Asian studies and one in anthropology, and surprisingly enough, they overlap a lot. That and here at the colleges, we used to have anthropology and sociology as like one joint major because they overlap a lot too.
Yeah. So and a lot of people do double major in things like dance and economics or something.
Computer science.
Like that. It seems crazy, but like actually so much of it overlaps that it's startling. It's bizarre. but yeah, did we answer your question okay?
Okay, that's enough. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Anyone else have any questions?
I have a question.
Okay.
I have read the article. What American students do when they realize they were bad at math?
What do you do? You change your major.
Oh wait, do you mean like in college? If you want to say like, oh, I want to be a mathematics major, and then you realize that you're actually not good at math?
I can do this because when I came to college, I thought that I wanted to be a chemist, that I wanted to do chemistry, and then I took a chemistry class, and I was really bad at it. And so I went to my advisor. We normally have advisors that help guide us into the major that we think is best for us. And she said to me, what do you like? And I said, well, I like people and I like different places and different cultures and different languages. And she said, maybe you should try anthropology. And that's how I got.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, that's specific for college. If you realize that you're terrible at math in like high school or something, you just like you you suffer. That's correct. Like I've been bad at math ever since the beginning. I've always known it. It's just a matter of like how much time I put into it. I can only get so good at the subject. I'm pretty sure. Like you know how you can do math in your head sometimes. It's difficult for me to do that sort of thing. Or I'm just like way slower than everybody else. So I'm gonna try my best not to take a math class. But you know, we tried. Did that answer your question? Okay.
And can you explain to us how hard is math? Maybe it's same with us in Indonesia because I'm bad at math too.
Yes! Be bad at math together.
Yeah.
I'm very bad at math.
It's not fun.
Us too.
Is anyone good at math here? Like
I will
Not
be
sure,
more-
not sure.
you're not. And Putri, nobody.
No.
Explain to us about
Nobody. Well, but yeah, how hard is math? Like, I'm trying to like take this, like try and get out of my personal experience a little bit.
Well,
mm,
math here
Relative.
is it changes. So it starts off with numbers, and then you get to middle school, and they throw in letters, and then there are graphs, and all these other things that I didn't sign up for.
But yeah, because math is a core subject, as we've learned today. You in elementary, middle, and high school, you have to take math for at least a certain amount of years. Like I didn't have to take it senior year in high school if I did well in all my other math classes. If I got a certain score on tests and stuff like that. But for most years, you have to take it. So things like algebra, trigonometry,
Calculus,
I didn't take those. I didn't take those.
statistics.
I took statistics. That was statistics is not that bad. It's a lot of words. Okay. But yeah, so it really depends on what kind of team you
Mrs.
have.
Lala is loud. There is something.
We cannot hear you.
Maybe I mean, can you explain to us in the Blackboard what I don't know how to say.
No, it's okay. You can try.
the kind of subject, the subject of the math. I mean, can you show us the subject of the math?
If you still remember.
Oh, you're asking.
I want to know
There's different kinds of math.
the example of math.
Oh, okay.
Oh, you got this. 1 + 1 is 2.
Yeah.
Oh, what is that? That's a geometry.
Oh,
Trigonometry.
Oh my god.
wow.
This is 180 degrees. This would be like 110 degrees. This would be 90 degrees. Something. This. would be 45 degrees.
Uh,
So this is geometry. This is geometry. It has a lot of things to do with shape and finding like the angles in shapes. So this would be 30, 60, 90.
What's the Pythagorean theorem, folks? Can Rachel tell us that?
A squared plus so this teaches different angles and how to find the angles. So there's like this, like for this triangle, this is a 90-degree angle here because I can make this shape. This is the hypotenuse. This line is the hypotenuse. And I can find the hypotenuse. In this, the hypotenuse is c squared. So I can find this line by using this formula. So a squared plus b squared equals c squared. So basically, this line over here, this line plus this line equals this line. And this is only one type of math. So this is geometry. When you're younger, you have algebra. So that's
This is what I'm trying to do here.
so like 8 plus 2x equals like 24. Wait, no. You subtract 8.
Oh yeah, okay.
Subtract 8, and then you get 16,
I
and
knew
then you
that
get
was
2x equals 16, and you divide by 2, x equals 8.
Boom.
That's I was good at math until I got to calculus. Calculus is
Oh, calculus.
level, yeah, the hardest level of math. I was good. I was good, and then I got to calculus, and I
Whoa.
Calculus is like in physics and in like higher level science and all that stuff.
said, yeah.
I took neither pre-calculus nor calculus nor physics. So I know none of that.
I took physics, I took pre-calculus, and basically calculus is so difficult because it takes the different types of math. So it takes the algebra, it takes the geometry, it takes the statistics, and it puts it all together in one terrible math class. And that's why it's really hard.
I really don't understand what is that.
I guess you'll just have to call.
Yeah. You have to see here.
That was
Yeah.
cool, Rachel.
Thank you.
It's very hard for Indonesian student.
Yeah, you picked the wrong people to ask about math.
I did it.
Maybe he just wanna test you.
I was just gonna do like addition facts on the board. Like Rachel went hardcore. I wasn't expecting.
Here you go. X equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a.
X equals negative b
Plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. That's the quadratic formula.
Yes. What about the distance formula?
Oh, distance equals, it's like velocity.
It's so bad.
Time.
Anyway, so sometimes your math teachers are nice to you and they give you songs to help you remember formulas. That's great. It's really nice of them.
Songs are always a good way to learn something.
Very true.
That's how I learned all the endings in Latin.
Okay.
Sing a song.
Probably did not expect this, nor did you want any of this, but did we answer your question okay? Ridwan, are you good? Did
Was
we
that okay?
did we answer your question?
I'm really enjoying the explanation. But I really don't understand about the math.
Yeah. We tried.
Anybody else?
Maybe I wanna ask something like personally to Rachel and Maggie. I really wonder how can you make decision before you go to the college? Like but wait, what makes you decide to choose a major before you go to the college?
Okay. You don't have to choose a major before you go to college. You can be excited and everything, but how do you like just the decision of how you choose a major in college?
Right. I mean, you essentially what you want to do is choose something that you like and that you're good at. And for me, you know, they don't teach anthropology in high school. So in high school, I was good at math and I was good at science for the most part. But then when I got to college and I took the college classes, I wasn't as good as I thought. And then I had to take a bunch of classes that I didn't know anything about. And I realized that I really liked being with different cultures and that's how I ended up deciding my major in anthropology and Asian studies.
I don't have as exciting a story. I haven't even declared a major yet. I'm just lazy. But I want to declare my major in English and writing and rhetoric. Oh, you haven't?
No.
Oh,
Yeah,
yes!
no, that's what
Yeah. We just know that's what we're going to do. But yeah, you can wait to declare your major until the spring of sophomore year. So we have a semester to do it. We're fine. I personally, I've always loved reading. I've always loved writing. It's something that I pursued, something I think I'm decent at. I think I have a decent hold on the English language. So
one would hope.
One would assume if I'm an English major, but yeah, it's just something that I really, really love. And I've always known that I've loved it. And so far, I still love it in college. So that's just, personally, that's just my story on that. Did that answer your question?
Yeah, thank you. And what is your dream job for the future after you finish your study in Hobart and Wellesley colleges?
Guess what job we're gonna have? Oh well, okay.
Yeah.
Well, the possibilities.
What job
are
we
endless.
dream to have? Yeah.
I personally would like to work a job that I can go to different places and study different languages and cultures. I think Indonesia is fascinating. If I ever got the chance to go there, I definitely would.
Yeah, come here.
Yeah.
Huh?
We are waiting for you, she said.
Hold on, I'll pack my food.
Yeah.
Come to Indonesia.
We're actually working on what? We're actually something. We actually really want to ask the budget allocation committee tomorrow about how we can apply to get $2,000 for one student. We're gonna see if that's at all possible, but yeah, you might see Rachel very soon, sooner than you think. But yeah, so
Cool.
yeah.
Did that answer your question?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, I forgot myself.
You are not answering the question. Maddie.
Yeah. I want to be an editor, so I would really like to focus on being publishing and edit. If I could do novels, that'd be pretty cool. Novels or short stories or something like that, and I could go through and look at the grammar and the all that stuff. So yeah, that's really what I want to do.
Wow.
And we're for the UN.
You look poetry? Novel? Or you write poetry?
Oh, I write poetry. I thought you were talking to Putri for a second. I was like, okay. Poetry. I've written poetry before. I wouldn't say like if I had a passion of anything, I'd really like to write a book before I die. That's like a thing I need to do. However, I don't finish anything because usually a better idea comes along. Yes, and I'm just like, oh, this idea is terrible. Let's go to this idea. Like I don't
start over
Yeah.
and you hit a certain point
And I
and you
just-
can't finish it.
I just like don't develop enough. It needs to be like it needs to be like a priority of mine in order to do it. Like I get all my work done in school or whatever, and then I'm like, oh, I'm just gonna chill. When I really should say, hey, you know what? I should set goals for myself so I can finish this book.
No, take a nap.
Sleep is for the weak. But yeah, did I answer your question? Okay.
Thank you very much. I hope that you will get your dream job in the future. I mean.
Here's open.
Maybe there are somebody else who wanna ask to Rachel and Maddie. Nabil, Sigit, please dia.
I want to ask to
Dia lagi. Please, Ivan.
think about Japanese language.
What did he ask about Japanese?
Yes.
What did
No,
you want an explanation of the Japanese language as well?
yeah.
Wait, what was the question?
Because I heard Rachel say something about Japanese.
Yeah. What about it?
Yeah. What do you think about Japanese?
Oh, I'm gonna. Okay. I watch a lot of anime, which is a lot of the cartoons, so I hear it a lot. I'm gonna take Japanese as a class in the spring. I know a lot of little phrases already, like Ohayo gozaimasu, watashi wa namae wa Iriza-san, arigatou gozaimasu, gomenasai. I know a lot of little things, but like hopefully I learn a lot more in the spring. Ask me about Italian. I know Italian a lot more.
Basic. Is it hard to learn Japanese language?
Yes. So Japanese is the first language that I'm learning that doesn't have like the alphabet that I'm used to. It's really hard, but I think it's going well so far. Because I'd say Latin, Spanish, and Italian all have the same alphabet, so that was pretty easy. But Japanese doesn't.
You want Indonesian? You want? Do you want to learn Indonesian language?
Yes, absolutely.
It's very beautiful.
Yeah, I know.
In Indonesian, many very many. Apa sih Bu kalau banyak bahasa tuh Bu?
There's a lot of
Many language.
language.
So many.
I would still like to learn it though.
Dialect.
Because we have very many ethnic in Indonesia, so we have many language, such as Sundanese and then
Japanese.
everything. If you come to Indonesia, you will get very many language, new language.
I'm so excited.
It's very
That's
exciting.
amazing.
Yeah. So I think today is time is up. Time is out ya Bu. And should we finish this mentoring or?
Sure. Well, you guys are done and everything?
Okay. Thank you very much for Maddie and Rachel and everyone in this mentoring today. Hope everything will give information. Yeah. And then see you next week. Bye bye.
Bye. Thank you so much.
Thank you.